My Gavan and Melanine, and well met indeed. I'm Arachir Galadirthan, head of the modding team behind Divide and Conquer, and welcome to Divide and Conquer as we continue on as Dol Amroth. We have to now push out Harad, who have finally returned to try and claim back lands that are ours that were once the Ardenaims, and that Harad is trying to claim as their own. You'll see they are attacking us here, and once Captain Masatha has finished, then Captain Shiruya will be coming through. And it looks like they're sending everything they can as well. Naman is coming from there, Vamfa is there. But unfortunately, Kand has everything to the north, so Gobo Mirland is all we have that borders with Harad now. But we're going to damn sure keep them out, and we're going to hold them here for as long as we are able. An army up here as well under Mistvan is being trained in Dol Amroth, which will then be used to scoot over to the Ardenaim stronghold of Tolfalas and reclaim that for us as well. They unfortunately beat us to it with some reinforcements, and so we weren't able to capture it when I sent Mistvan and the Coastal Wardens alone, as I'm sure many of you are aware, as it's only been a day since the last episode. But let us move on then. Our army is about to show Harad that they have messed with the wrong descendants of Numenor. Not that they messed with the Ardenaim at all, but we're going to show them they won't do well against us. Oh, and indeed, they've sent an army of their quite possibly worst units in an attempt to make us feel even better about ourselves. 3 units of Haradrim Spearmen to start us off, all going to die. There's some Haradrim Spearmen there. Now, there are some Southron Warband, but there's only 39 of them, so they're going down. And, of course, as you all know, the only unit to fear itself, is the Trollmen Warriors, who have a couple of hit points, and so might shrug off a few cavalry charges. On the whole, though, they're going to die too. I would very much like to hold Gobo Mirland as a little stopover, not a stopover, a holdout against the coming tide of Harad. The Ardenaim are done. We've managed to squeeze them out of the game, despite my poor army management and formation control, as people keep reminding me. Oh dear. It's the problem as the channel grows in size and new people come to watch the game, and they then get what to them is a revelation that I am a terrible commander in this game. They then feel the need to tell me with the most prejudice possible. But of course that's nothing new, and those of you who've been here for a long time will know that of course I don't claim to be good at this game at all. But I do mod this game, so if you want the first-hand information of what's going on, you're stuck watching my poor command. Although, speaking of stuck watching my poor command, let me also direct you today to another user on YouTube who I know has been doing version 4.5 videos, and today that gentleman is Izzy, and his channel is linked in the description below. Do head over and check him out as well if you are interested in alternative commanders playing Divide and Conquer. That was a fantastic segue, wasn't it? I didn't even plan that. I'd forgotten, if I'm honest, that I was going to be shouting out. But that was just brilliant. Marvellous. It was like I'd rehearsed it or something. Anyway, we've got a lot of archers. They don't have very many archers. We've only got pikes to hold our line, but it, of course, will all be, once again, the Imrahil show. I have had a couple of people now suggest that cavalry bodyguards should be gutted from the mod wholesale, and even Imrahil should lose the cavalry bodyguard because he single-handedly makes the campaign a doddle, is the information I am receiving from certain users. But of course, for many of you, Dol Amroth remains a relatively tricky campaign, but for the, shall we call them, the 1%, they want to make the game even harder for themselves. But I think most people, myself included, I like having an overpowerful general. I'm not playing Divide and Conquer for an extreme challenge. I'm playing it to play Lord of the Rings in a total war setting. And if I may be so bold as to toot my own horn for a moment, I think that Divide and Conquer is currently the best way to play the Lord of the Rings in a total war setting. We have a continual development cycle, so we're still working on our mod, which means if you come across bugs, they are likely to be fixed. We are continuing to add new features that we think will improve upon the game. And overall, the game is in a relatively good location. Our only real problem at the moment is the fact that Medieval 2 itself is not a very good game to mod. It's of the older generation. And so it's likely to crash every now and then because the game just kind of reaches its limit, has a little tantrum and shuts the game down, whereas of course on later games you just don't get problems like that. In later games, if the game crashes, it's because there is an actual problem. Like, take Skyrim, for example. Ever since they released Skyrim Special Edition, I know that whenever my game crashes, it is because I've got a conflict or someone has included a model that doesn't actually work. for a monster or something like that. I know that the game has not just had a mad one and decided to crash. Whereas in Medieval 2, that is quite often the cause of most crashes. And there's nothing that we can do about that. Our latest problem, of course, is the inbuilt file name limit that Windows has, which is something that we didn't really know about until recently. But a specific file, including its folder path, can only be a certain length. I think it's about 240 characters, something like that. So people who have been installing Divide and Conquer in through about 3 folders, so rather than it just being C, Steam Apps Common, or C, Sega, Creative Assembly, Medieval 2, whatever the disk version is, they're installing it in C, My Games folder, Total War Games, something like that. And those extra characters mean that some of the very, 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 very long named files, which were included by the Third Age team and are now so integral to the mod that renaming them is essentially out of the question. Why didn't you run away when I told you to run away? We can't really rename them now without going through the entire mod, and it will open us up to so many crashes. But of course, it may be something that we have to do, because at the moment, people are having problems installing the mod if they're installing into sort of an extra tier of folder structures. And trying to tell them that proves to be difficult. Now, we've already absolutely smashed this, even though I've been paying almost no attention, because the enemy's just running away. They're giving us the victory. Some of them are coming back for more, but then they change their minds. Captain Masatha died a long time ago. Spearman broken again. Capture what we can, come on. As they get closer, they die to arrow fire as well. The Trollmen warriors have come back for more.
The enemy army
End it. 60 men lost, 1,341. It's not our finest victory, but once again, Imrahil taking the top spot as he keeps doing, routinely and frequently. I grant you that the Dol Amroth campaign, I would submit it probably appears challenging at first, but by taking one of the 3 nations out, it isn't actually all that challenging if we're being truthful. Canned aren't good enough to trouble you, and it takes them quite a while to get themselves to where they've got. I mean, we're 50 turns in. The Ardenheim are basically dead. Canned have taken up to the river, but they're not crossing the river, and if they do, they'll never get into Lynn here because their army is not designed for bridge battles. And we will continue to beat them at any bridge battle that arises. Oh, I've ruined that misclick. I've done it again. So with the removal of the Corsair invasion script, if I'm honest, we are going to make rushing Umbar harder. Because as my campaign again has just proven to all of you, because this campaign is very close to the point where you would consider it won. All right, Harad are going to throw a few problems at us, but I could solve that by simply giving away Gobo Mirlond. I mean, at the moment, it's not even making us... It's making us about 30 gold coins a turn. So whilst it is a useful settlement, at the moment, it is a god-awful settlement. Although we can get rid of that, because that doesn't do anything for us. But we'll keep the Merchant's Guild. And then I wouldn't border Harad, and then they won't come for me. It would just be me fighting Canned. So, I think there's call for the campaign to be made a little more challenging.
Captain of Gondor.
And anyway, our army is safe outside the city. Rondor Mercs. How much? Curses, can't get them yet. Let's end the turn. There are many, 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 many interesting changes going into the mod this week, though. And so I think this weekend I will bring you a developer diary just before I start the Ered Luin campaign. Because there's been so much changed over the past week or 2 weeks. So much has gone into the mod that I think a developer diary is warranted. Now, it will probably be a rather lengthy one, and almost all of it, in fact, every single thing I will talk about will be campaign side. So visually, it will not be a particularly enjoyable video. But there's a lot to talk about. I was watching Calistonian, actually, the Heirs of Elendil lead. He had an hour and 15-minute long video talking about what they're bringing to Heirs of Elendil way back when they started. And I found that video really enjoyable. Just listening to someone sort of talk through their plans. Right, Harad have actually decided to put some real forces onto the table, but they have got a lot of cavalry, and we have got 2 pike units. The problem here is they've got a lot of Southron Warband, which will actually present a problem. And 3 units of pikes. Finally, a unit that Imrahil might not be able to sweep away. There are 2 generals, Yamath and, who was the other fellow? Aslam. Now, they, of course, have Black Snake Guard, so they're charging into us just as much as we're charging into them. in all, this is actually going to be a really challenging fight, and we may not win this. So I take back everything I just said about Dol Amroth being a doddle, because we are possibly about to lose Lord Imrahil. Where on earth did this army come from, though? Out of the blackness. They just appeared. And Shiruya has attacked Gobel Mirlon, so I don't think Gobel Mirlon is going to be saved, unless we can fight and win this battle. You'd hope for a bridge battle, but it won't be one, because you don't get bridge battles on ocean crossings. We will be sandwiched into the coast. So if anything, despite the fact that this should be to our advantage, we are going to have the worst starting position on this battle map. Oh, well, no. Neither side has a good position, really, do they? They've got a bit of a hill, though, but then they've got to attack us, which is the only thing into our advantage. It's rare that I get attacked by the AI. Interesting to see. Let's go to this sort of flattish plain over here, because that hill, we've got to hope they come on the side. I'm not bothered about that. We're going to come over here. Now, we must protect our archers. If our archers go down, we lose a real strength here today. And the enemy is going to try and flank them, and we don't have enough forces for them to stand in one long line, so you're going to have to go like that. Baragund, take the central point. Pikes, I don't know which side their cavalry is going to come from. That's going to be the challenge. Because 37 of you aren't really going to do much, are you? But we'll have Imrahil on that side, so he can cover you. And this gentleman with only his 9, he come over here. One of their generals is over there. Ooh, ooh. Now, their Black Snake Guard aren't as good as Royal Swan Guard, but they do outnumber us, and they will kill not Hugh Jackman if we get him stuck into charging against them. And they are quite fond of charging into your bodyguards with their own. It's something the AI does a lot. That's a very nice horse, isn't it? I like the sort of cloth-like armour that they've got on them. I also really like that model, which is courtesy of Third Age Reforged, so thank you to them for that. But it looks really cool, and it stands out so much from the Serpent Guard. It doesn't look just like a darkened, textured version of the Serpent Guard. It looks like its own standalone unit. I think that's cool. The bulk of their army is just sort of walking towards us. All of their cavalry is over there. But remember, in fact, all of their cavalry, bar their generals, are cavalry archers, which is a real pain in the neck, because they're the kind of worst ones, really. But they don't look like they're going to go for much of a flanking job. So let's pull our pikemen in over there. Get Baragund to go a bit more like that. And then you guys can come a bit further out. You come and stand back here and charge absolutely if you must. Pikes down. Much rust's on you today, gentlemen. You are going to, I think, decide the fate of this battle. Imrahil is going to have to put a real shift in to kill the copious amounts of ground forces that are coming against us. Although the AI at the moment is content to just walk over there. Well, while their general's bodyguards aren't doing anything, let's get in there and shut down a couple of these units. Oh, that was awful. Changed way too late.
Defeat seems almost certain.
Defeat's not certain, but pull Imrahil out. Oh, bugger. No, that kind of works in our favour, actually, doesn't it? It gives us a nice line. The Mariners have stood strong. Get the archers into position. Get Imrahil round. He's taking a lot from the archers there, I think. Press out if you can. Who is attacking them? Southron Warband, get and hit them. It's those archers over there that's going to be the challenge. Southron Warband, shut those down. Pull out. You've been caught in a sort of no man's land, but that's alright, you can flank them. Imrahil arrives as the Southron Warman has their back turned. It's a perfect placement for him. Is that Trollmen as well? Ah, they've got Trollmen as well. I think Baragund will probably die because he's out on the edge. Go for those Radrim Spearmen. The pikes are moving slowly through the line. We've lost more than them. I really need you guys to shoot those cavalry archers. Or the pikes, actually. The pikes do nicely too. He's really not going to do much. 9 men isn't going to help very much at all today. We are losing far more than they are. Yeah, we're not going to win this one. We'll take out as many as we can, though, before we do pull the retreat. Although I don't think there's anywhere to retreat to, and we don't have any ships. So this could well be the death of Imrahil, which will absolutely turn this campaign on its head.
Seems almost certain.
Because without him, we are nothing. Oh, yeah, no, I've forgotten about him and he's died over there. Yep, get him out. Call it. Run everyone away. Fastest way to run away. We are just absolutely outnumbered there. And the horse archers are causing, of course, being able to shoot at us. Finally, an enemy that had teeth. I was really hoping to go up against the enemy that came towards Gobel Mirland. The non-general army that is now besieging Gobel Mirland. But I'm really hoping that doesn't mean that Imrahil is going to die, because he is so influential in our campaign.
Retreat!
Oh no, he pulled back to Gobel Mirland. Oh no, and now he's dead, yeah. So we've lost Imrahil, so that's great to know. I can't retreat, you see, and that will spell his death. We don't even have 160 gold coins to pay for those. Oh, someone survived. How could Imrahil not, but Amandir did? Ah, goodness gracious. Lord Imrahil is died. Is died? It's not a word. Is dead. And Amandir is actually our faction heir, believe it or not. So he's now going to get a much larger retinue. And he's become the faction heir because he's the only... Oh no, he's married to Imrahil's sister. Mistvan is also a contender. He's also married to Imrahil's sister. Right, well, we're not going to stand there and die, but we're also not going to offer up the city freely. So let's just burn all of this stuff. We have 28 men in the city, and they've just performed a fantastic destruction. A fantastic show of destruction.
Onward.
Right, we're out. We've lost Imrahil. We are going to rename that before they take it, though, so that we can come back and get it. Oh, you've got to rename it before you click away, idiot. We're going to call it Imrahil's Glory. Because despite his death here, something needs to be remembered. Something near to where he fell. But let us not also forget that with the death of Imrahil and the burning and destruction that we've just created in Gobel Mirland, we've actually just gained a ton of money, and we can now build an actual force. But it is just, what do we want? I think we should use this opportunity to get the fiefdom barracks. I won't bother with the way station. Oh, we could have got the Mason's Guild House, actually. That's the top tier. I'm going to do it. I'm sorry, everyone. I know people really don't like that. People think it's not the best way to go, but I'm going to do it. So the army will withdraw to the fort. Oh, that is such a shame. Part of me feels hollow inside for Imrahil's passing. We'll rename Tol. We'll rename. What is the? I know it's called Tolfalas, but what's the city called? I can click on it. Gobel Tolfalas, of course. We'll rename that to something Imrahili as well, so that it isn't just Imrahil's glory that's lost to us. Oh, look, we can even remove them and we get 42 extra upkeep in the turn. But alright, you take Imrahil's glory, Harad. We'll be back. I feel like I have my foot in my mouth now for talking only 10 minutes ago about how easy this campaign is, and then now we've suddenly lost Imrahil. Everything turns on its head. Of course, we would have survived if the army from Harad didn't just appear out of apparently nowhere, and have enough movement points as well to then chase our routing army. It would seem very much that that army was just outside of our vision range on the other side of the mouth, or it was hiding in the trees. Of course, had I known both of those armies were there, I would have pulled away, but I simply did not know that Jamath was going to be there as well, so it falls. But it is actually, it wasn't making us very much money. So economically speaking, we that's no loss, really. We're not allied to Khand or Harad, so we're not getting any trade value from it either. But we make a good amount of money now. Very nice. Which we will throw some of that money into units. Could we do with another general? He's a foot general. We've got Amandir and Baragund making their way out. Where's my boats, actually? Oh, they're all the way up there. Tell you what, retrain you guys and give me another ship as well. Put the retraining in after the ship. And then I'll also take some of those and pikemen and the lancers. In terms of the funds, everything's building anyway, except Methrast. You can be the next one to build then. We are going to have 4,736. Which is just shy of a shipwright. Where's the building browser? Give me the building browser. If we were to build a shipwright, at the moment, trade income is 237 and buildings is 110. Trade income would go up by not even 20 coins. Ugh, dear oh dear. Growth goes up though. And the naval recruitment cost is dropped, but we're only building a navy in Dol Amroth, so we're not bothered about that. So we're not going to be building the shipwright. So I suppose a governor's quarters is perhaps then the best thing, because that'll at least give us more recruitment capacity and a second free upkeep, because the Ardanaim army is on the move, filled with more traitors coming directly from the Isle of Tolfalas. Dear oh dear. Linhir built its leather tanner and is building its governor's quarters. Perfect. Then with some monies that you've got, I will be taking anything that fights well in a bridge, on a bridge, in a bridge, under the bridge, everywhere in and around a bridge. And I shall take the armory if we can once you're done with the other one. Skand is starting to get a little gropey. Otherwise we can end the turn. Will Amandir escape is the question. I can't sail my ship to him because it wouldn't have arrived in time anyway, and the Ardanaim will absolutely hunt me down in the ocean if I try and get a ship over to him. So he's got to come by land. And Khand are going to try and stop the both of them. But if we can get Baragund back, he's another good bridge battle general. I am quite disappointed that Imrahil died, but Amandir and Baragund didn't. How is that possible? Imrahil had considerably higher security, and he was the faction leader. He's the one we're supposed to be getting out. Right, Khand did attack us, and I can see why it thinks we're going to win, because they've got rubbish forces. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to auto-resolve, because I want to see if the auto-resolve favours us or them. Bit of a test. Clear victory, as expected. Ah, yeah, look, Amandir's up to 23 men now. He's going to be the new Imrahil. 268 Royal Swan Guard, no surprises there. I should say that nothing was actually special about Imrahil. The only reason he has such a large bodyguard is because he's the faction heir, and faction heirs get a bigger bodyguard because they have an inherent higher security stat. Oh wow, they even won that one. Dear oh dear. Khand just bringing everything. How many men does Khand want to die? This time, it's a bridge too far for us this time. We're not going to be able to stop that. We can't run away. Clear defeat. But they might run away.
Retreat!
Oh, for goodness sake, let us go, Khand! Crying out loud, what is two generals doing to harm you? Go on, Amandir. Ah, no, Amandir died. And so did Baragund. Oh, Christ. They really made Khand pay, though, didn't they? Blimey. But there we are. Our family tree has died. Go on then. We'll take a general because he's going to be Mistvan. But that means a non-family member might become one of our leaders. Lord Amandir has died and Baragund has died, and the faction heir is now Lord Mistvan. Because unfortunately Elfir has not yet come of age. So the true male line can't become the heir, unfortunately. But Durthor is now the heir apparent. And he's only an adopted general, which is very disappointing. Right, I think our army to take Tolfalas, though, is ready. But then we'll wait for those ships to train, which will give us a pike unit as well. And then that will come down to 2. That will have 2 turns left. So that one's going to go. That one's going to go. They're going to move into those 2 slots, which leaves 1 slot and 2 turns. So we could have 2 1-turn units. There we are. So that'll all complete at the same time. So we will wait a turn for all of that. But you guys can head up to Dol Amroth. There's no point waiting. Yeah, we lose a bit of money, but what the hey. Everywhere is building. Linhir's not training all of its troops, but it will do in the next turn. That's fine. A sad day. Baragund and Amandir. Amandir went out in a real show of strength, though, didn't he? He didn't go out with a whimper. He went out with a bang. And Cand will remember both his name and Imrahil's. But as I was saying, Imrahil is a nice general to have because he is actually in the law. So, of course, he's a law-accurate general. But his large bodyguard size is not tied to him alone. And now Mistvan, who currently has Nimrodel Mariners, but he will now get a larger bodyguard as well. And then whoever is our heir will always get that sort of 30 to 40 size bodyguard. It is not just Imrahil's unit. So Amandir had the potential to be as effective as Imrahil. And when Mistvan loses the airship, whichever cavalry bodyguard replaces him will also have that same potential. Oh dear, there's deaths everywhere. Yeah, go on then. Welcome to the family, love. Enedwaith expands. The steward is dead. Moria is under siege. Kairandos is under attack. Ithilion's been lost. Osgiliath is under attack. Venice Druin is assaulted. Fornos is assaulted. Damn, the world is falling. But the Anduin Vale and Lothlorien have made peace and have made an alliance. So at least some good came from that. Why are we retraining the Alcorondas? Why didn't you just retrain anyway? That's very annoying. You were set to retrain. Why didn't you retrain? Well, we'll have to make sure we do that as the last thing we do then, because something's obviously bugged about them. But we're about to get roads here, so let's chuck in. Roads is the highest tier, isn't it? No, we get the special extra road, don't we? Because we are Numenorian. Roads, yes, and we're already a town large enough to build it, but it costs a fair amount. Blimey, it costs an arm and a leg, but we will have enough to get the Mason's Guildhouse, and Netherland is only going to be a moneymaker, so let's go for that. Lynn here has got another 2 turns, good. Methras has 3, and Dol Amroth. Oh, you're going to be built on the next turn. We'll take stock when your turn comes and see what we can go with. So with that in mind, remove them, retrain that. And we'll add them again next time. So we'll end the turn again, as Cand is now starting to flood across the mouths of the Anduin. But with only one enemy to face, it'll be easier. And once Tolfalas falls back into our hands, that gives us a springboard, a location to mount successful attacks against Harad. Because remember, Cand aren't a naval nation at all. They've got to train mercenary cogs if they want ships. So we haven't got any threat from them. And Harad are so much worse than us on the water that Gondor will be knocking their ships around all day. Because do remember that Gondor is quite a powerful naval nation. And they command the seas just as much as the Ardenaim or indeed Dol Amroth try to. When under my command, anyway. So we can rely on Gondor to help keep the oceans clear. And anything that gets through, we can try and mop up ourselves. Oh dear, Kadastan has fallen. Angmar are all powerful. It's all going on. The world is definitely changed. He's a very jolly looking fellow, isn't he? Don't tell me that ship is still there. What do you need from me? Goodness gracious.
The fleet.
Oh, no, it's the new one, isn't it? Right, yes, of course. I thought 112 was a very odd number, but that actually is just the number of soldiers that the Alcorondas has. And the retraining is to give them an extra point of command, which we're not bothered about. Right, you two can stay here and you're going to be the garrison. So we'll take the lot, please. We're off.
Yes, sir.
We're going to reclaim Gobel Tolfalas with extreme prejudice.
We can go no further.
And you can train both of those. And there we are. Da-da-da-dum. Theland is building the Mason's Guildhouse. Perfect. And then once complete, you can't build roads because I didn't check what you need to build the road. Requires Mason's Guildhouse anyway. Ah, of course, yes. So we need the Mason's Guildhouse to get those better roads. And roads seem to be the best way to make money. So roads should also really be our point in Dol Amroth. At the moment, our trade is 1,621. With a potential of being 1,776. I'm not really sure why that's blocked out. If we build the Great Roads... Oh, it goes up by 400 gold coins. That's so useful. And they do increase speed as well, remember. So we'll be able to move in and out of this region very easily. But we don't make enough money to save up for that now. So I think we're going to have to focus on some minor economic benefits. Such as crop rotation. Because we can build that. Oh, and a steward's hall, please, actually. Let's get more upkeep and more recruitment slots as well. And interestingly, though... Oh, no, I didn't build the barracks tonight. And we'll get the barracks afterwards, because that gives us a load of new units. Lynn here has built its mighty force as well, and is a turn away from getting another set of free upkeep. But in anticipation of getting better free upkeep, I'm thinking of pulling out to that fort and holding there. So if we leave the guard unit behind, or the 2 guard units behind, send the rest of the fort, we get then all that free upkeep, and those 2 will both be free in just a moment. So we're only then paying for the archers, which sees our money hopefully go up again. But let's give it another N10 and move through. Remember the Ered Luin campaign that will begin next week. There will be no barracks events. It'll be the first time you see that. There will be the new Basra Dum reclamation, which completed yesterday, which is another reason why the developer diary needs to mention that. So that'll be new. And but I think that's about it in terms of the Ered Luin campaign. Oh, there's a sort of hidden new feature coming that you'll all see in the developer diary, which we weren't on the lookout for, but was offered to us by a gentleman named Elasar, I believe he was called. Oh, come on, Canned. Oh, opportunistic if ever I've seen it. We move into a fort, and then literally the same turn, they then head back and siege our town. Just can't win with these guys, can we? Right, now we're here for Gobel Tofalas. We're here in numbers, and all you've got is Azrazaya raiders, and we're going to burn everything you have to the ground. Lynn here built its governor's quarters just in time for Canned to attack us. Perfect. So our army will need to move out and hit them, but that is going to be for another video. This sad, sad day is going to have to be ended and commemorated here, because of course Imrahil has now died. It took 50 turns, but we managed to kill him off. Adrahil still goes though, and he is in the fort over there. Prince Adrahil the Fearless, a veteran officer, I've no doubt 76 years of age. He will shortly move back and alleviate the pressure on Lynn here by killing off whoever this is, Captain Aban.
I will not waste words
Captain Aban, who was standing just over here, and then in one turn beat off the enemy and ploughed straight through for Lynn here. Why do they ignore everything so much? The AI is so annoying, and you just can't tell it what you want it to do. It just does its own thing all the damned time. But I don't think we need to worry about Ardenaim ships, but we might as well... Oh, they're already blockaded by Gondor. Let's go and knock on the doors of Harad, shall we? No, we need to hang around here so that we can get out if there's if things go badly. Oh, there's the Ardenaim fleet. I'm all over the place. Absolutely all over the place. But anyway, for now, that is going to end this episode. So thank you very much for watching, if indeed you have. In the next one, we shall move on out of the fort and kill Aban, take back Gobel Tofalas, and then probably move over and take Halthaner, even if just to sell it on to someone else. Because then the Ardenaim's last territory will be Tharagrondos, and they will be out of everyone's hair and out of everyone's mind, and they won't be a problem anymore. So I think it's worthwhile taking that. We can also then destroy all the buildings in this location and, I don't know, give it to Gondor for free or something like that. But I'd like to try and sell it, to be honest, to make some money out of it. And then our armies can all come together and we can start our way back across the mouths of the Anduin and into Candish territory. Although I'm quite tempted to hold Cand here, given how easy it is, and send our army via a fleet to Umbar, and then to stop the to stop Harad now getting that. Oh, of course, no, the Ardenaim capital is still Ardamir, isn't it? Because I never made it down there. So they're going to be waiting. They're like the present at the bottom of a very large box. Once we've unpacked the many layers, we will then arrive at what is the Ardenaim's last stand. Although then I'm very tempted to sail over and take Tharagrondos, because then we've got a unique region out there. We could then start claiming some lands from Enedwai to try and get a bit more money. That sounds a bit more interesting, doesn't it? But for now, that'll be all. So thank you very much for watching, and until we speak again, Nevair and Eden Pedimad Melonin, and farewell.